Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. Let's start our video with a story in which our OP, a service advisor at a busy Texas dealership, deals with a customer who's determined to win an argument, even if it means paying more than she originally had to. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. So you want to use another store's service coupon? No problem. So this happened a few years ago at my dealership. For context, I'm a service advisor at a large domestic brand dealer located in one of Texas's biggest cities. We see a ton of customers every day, and let's just say I've developed a sixth sense for when someone's going to be one of those. A woman came in with her truck complaining it was pulling hard to the left. She also asked for an oil change while she was here. Pretty straightforward. I told her that the issue could likely be due to an alignment being out of spec, but I'd have a technician take a look first just to rule out anything more serious. A few hours later, the tech finishes his inspection and confirms my suspicion. No mechanical issues, just an alignment that's clearly off. I call her up and let her know everything looks fine mechanically, but your alignment's out of spec. The technician recommends a standard alignment. Our price for cars and light trucks is $119.95 plus the oil change. She sighs loud enough that I almost had to pull the phone away from my ear and then says, "You guys are so expensive. This is why I hate dealing with dealerships. Isn't there a coupon or something I can use?" Now, mind you, this is her first visit to our dealership. No history in the system, no loyalty points, nothing. But hey, I'm trying to be professional, so I tell her, "Ma'am, we're not running any current promotions, but let me check with my supervisor and see what I can do for you." I place her on hold for a minute, not to actually check with anyone, but to build a little suspense. You know the game. Then I pick up and say, "Good news, I spoke with my supervisor and we can apply an internal discount for the alignment. We'll bring it down to $79.95. She pauses for a second and says, "That's it?" with a mix of surprise and disappointment. "That's what we can offer today," I reply, and leave it at that. She reluctantly agrees. Fine, go ahead and do it. Fast forward a few hours and she's back to pick up her vehicle. I've got the keys ready and her invoice printed when she walks in proudly holding a coupon from another dealership. She hands it to me and says, "I want to use this." I look it over. It's a flashy flyer from a competing dealership advertising a Mother's Day special, full synthetic oil change, tire rotation, and a 2- or 4-wheel alignment, all for $189.99. A few things immediately catch my eye. This is not our store. It expired 3 days ago. Our invoice, even without the coupon, is cheaper. I politely say, "Ma'am, this is from another store and it's also expired." She cuts me off. Someone on the phone said I could use it anyway. They told me the expiration date doesn't matter because it's not your coupon. I ask, "Do you remember who you spoke with?" Naturally, she can't give me a name. While she's going on, I'm doing the math in my head. Her oil change is $74.95 and the alignment discounted is $79.95. That brings her to just over $150 before tax. She's literally saving money compared to using this expired coupon. I try to explain that. I get about halfway through. "Ma'am, your total is low," and she cuts me off again. "Either you take this coupon or get me a manager. I'm not paying your expensive prices. You guys are thieves." I smile. "Okay, ma'am, you're the customer." So I go back to the system and rework the ticket. I apply her expired out-of-store coupon. I remove our alignment discount and adjust the charges to match the $189.99 deal she's demanding. I come back and say, "All set, ma'am. Your total is $189.99 plus tax. Cash or card?" "Card," she snaps. I swipe the card with a smile, hand her the keys and receipt, and cheerfully say, "Thanks so much. Have a wonderful day." She stomped out and peeled off like she was trying to win the Indy 500. A few minutes later, my manager walks over. "I heard some yelling. What was that about?" I explained everything, the original discount, the expired coupon from another store, the fact that she paid more just to feel like she won an argument. He laughed so hard he had to sit down. We've all been cracking jokes about it on the service drive ever since. Give the customer what they want, even if it costs them more. She was mad, sure, but I slept just fine that night. You're happy because your business made more money. She thinks she got a deal through lying and is happy. Everyone's happy. Life is good. And And our second story. I guess I own the restaurant now? This happened about 8 months ago, but I was recently scrolling through Reddit and stumbled across this sub, and it reminded me of a particularly ridiculous exchange I had over text. So for background, I speak a couple of languages, but Chinese isn't one of them. That didn't stop me from receiving a random message in Chinese one evening. Thankfully, my phone's built-in translation feature kicked in and gave me a rough idea of what it said. The message read something like, "Hello, is this restaurant name? Our company will have a dinner next weekend. I want to book a private room for 8 to 10 people a few days in advance. Please help me arrange it." It was a polite, straightforward reservation request, except I don't run a restaurant. I'm just some guy with a regular job and a very normal phone number. I texted back just as politely, explaining they had the wrong number. They responded quickly with an apology for the confusion, and I figured that was the end of it. I was wrong. About 6 hours later, I got another message, this time in broken English, and the tone had taken a sharp turn. They accused me of lying, insisted they'd triple-checked the number, and were adamant this had to be the correct restaurant. I tried reasoning with them, repeating that I wasn't affiliated with any restaurant at all, but they were having none of it. The messages kept coming, growing more demanding and aggressive, so finally I just gave up. I replied, "Yes, we have a private room available at 5 p.m. that day." If they were going to be rude and annoying, I figured I'd let them deal with the awkward aftermath. I imagined them walking into the actual restaurant, insisting they had a reservation that never existed, only to be turned away in front of their coworkers. Maybe it would be a good lesson in double-checking your info and not yelling at strangers. In hindsight, I probably just caused trouble for the real restaurant, and I'll admit I feel a little guilty about that now. But at the time, I was so irritated I didn't care. My phone barely gets text, so the constant spam was beyond annoying. A coworker later asked why I didn't just block the number. Great question. Didn't even think of it in the moment. Out of curiosity, I'd looked up the restaurant they mentioned. It was legit, just clear across the state. Their actual phone number was right there on the website. But after getting berated for politely helping, yeah, they were officially on their own. I could just picture them, phone in hand, huffing and puffing. "You must be Restaurant X." And you're over here like, "Bro, I can't even pronounce your restaurant's name, let alone book you a private room." And our last story. My neighbor kept stealing from my garage, so I left him a surprise he'd never forget. Back when I bought this house, I had no idea I was moving in next door to a man-child with the impulse control of a raccoon on Red Bull. Let's call him Ricky. Ricky had the exact kind of energy that screamed multiple warrants and one very avoidable court date. Tattoos that looked like they'd been drawn by a Sharpie-wielding toddler, a pit bull that barked at clouds, a chain smoker laugh, and that constant sweaty aura of a guy who might ask you for a ride to go pick something up, which you know could mean anything. I tried to be neighborly, I really did. First winter, I helped him dig his car out of a snowbank. He asked to borrow a shovel, then a rake, then a ladder. All came back with something mysteriously broken or missing. He once offered me some home brew from his garage setup. It came in a repurposed Mountain Dew bottle and smelled like regret. I declined. Things got sketchier when his buddy Joey started coming around. Joey looked like he'd just walked off the set of a failed reality show. Long, greasy ponytail, scuffed leather jacket, and his twitchy paranoia like he owed someone money right now. He and Ricky were inseparable, and soon after Joey started showing up, things in my garage started vanishing. At first, I thought I was just being forgetful, a flashlight missing here, a pack of smokes gone, maybe I drank that soda and forgot. But then a bottle of bourbon disappeared, then some rum. Then my lock looked off. I wasn't going to let this slide, so I decided to give Ricky and Joey a gift. I took an old bottle of gin, nasty stuff I'd gotten in a Christmas gift basket years ago, and emptied it. Then I refilled it with antifreeze, added a splash of water, and tossed in some blue food coloring to make it look convincing. Gave it a good shake, wiped the bottle clean, and placed it back on the shelf in my garage, front and center. 2 nights later, bingo! I woke up to the garage door cracked open and the bottle gone, lock busted. Classic Ricky. The next morning, ambulance outside Ricky's house, lights flashing, EMTs rushing in. I made a coffee and sat on the porch like it was Sunday brunch. Turns out our genius duo helped themselves to my special gin. Both ended up in the ER violently ill. Ricky apparently puked so hard his dog started howling. Joey got it worse. Kidney failure. Spent 3 days in the hospital and had to start dialysis. And here's the kicker. They tried to sue me. After breaking into my property, stealing my booze, and poisoning themselves on it, they had the audacity to claim I'd maliciously endangered them. Ricky even came to my door wearing a neck brace, looking like he was auditioning for a low-budget courtroom drama. "Yo, man," he said, leaning on the doorframe like we were pals. "You seriously not gonna settle? Joey's not doing good, man. He might need a transplant." I stared at him. "You stole from me." "Yeah, but it's like, it wasn't locked, right?" "It was locked," I said flatly. He shrugged like that somehow made me the bad guy. "Man, we just wanted a drink. You didn't have to try and kill us." I closed the door in his face. Court day rolled around and their lawyer, who honestly looked like he'd been paid in scratch-off tickets, tried to claim reckless endangerment, said I'd booby-trapped my own house. My lawyer came armed with photos of the busted lock, security cam timestamps, and even local ordinances on trespassing and theft. The judge didn't waste time. Case dismissed. Even raised an eyebrow at Ricky and told him he should count himself lucky I hadn't pressed charges. I could have countersued easily. My lawyer even encouraged it. Lost wages, emotional distress, property damage, whatever. But I passed. I figured the antifreeze did enough damage on its own, and not just to their kidneys. I heard Ricky had to sell his truck to cover legal fees. Joey's medical bills wiped out whatever savings he might have had, and after the court loss, both of them avoided me like the plague. Ricky moved out 6 months later. I think he skipped on his lease because a property manager came around looking very irritated. Last I heard, he ended up in Arizona. Or maybe Vegas? Doesn't matter. They're used to his type. I did see Joey once downtown, though. He looked rough. That healthy criminal glow had faded. He looked 20 years older. No ponytail, no jacket, just an empty stare. I smiled and kept walking. Next time, they'll think twice before borrowing from your place. That's how you handle a freeloading, crank-calling neighbor. Set a trap, let natural selection do its thing, and enjoy your coffee while emergency services do the rest. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.